What is up, everyone? This is Dragon Ball Media, and today we're going to take a look at one of the worst Dragon Ball movies of all time. Maybe even the worst. When you think of bad Dragon Ball movies, what usually comes to mind? Bio Broly? That was definitely a terrible one. Dragon Ball Evolutions? I don't think I've met one person who enjoyed that movie. Of all the Dragon Ball movies that were bad, there's at least one redeemable quality you find in each of those. However, the movie we're talking about today is completely atrocious, with not one redeemable moment, at least from my recollection. Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins. Now, you've probably never seen, let alone heard of this movie before, partially due to its unofficial release all the way back in 1991, or because it was made in Taiwan with no official widespread release originally. Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins is not only one of the worst Dragon Ball movies ever made, but it could possibly be the worst live-action movie ever made. Before we get into why it's extremely terrible, let's talk about the backstory and plot to this movie, because how it was made is actually pretty interesting. So most if not all of the time when you create a Dragon Ball movie, whether it is an animation or live action, and you're trying to base it off of the original Dragon Ball series, you have to get authorization and approval, from my understanding, from Toei Animation or Akira Toriyama himself. But these filmmakers just said, screw all of that, we're going to make it regardless of what they think. So how did they get away with something like this, you may ask? Well, simple really. They just had to change a few things around. And boy was it embarrassing. So instead of Dragon Balls, they're referred to as Dragon Pearls. They also changed pretty much the whole cast names to prevent copyright. And boy are they some good ones. Let's simmer through some of the name changes. We have Monkey Boy, who's supposed to be Goku, that's creative. Piggy as Oolong. Turtle Man as Roshi. You kinda get what they're going for. Any personality trait the original character has, they pretty much call them exactly that. For example, you can only take a guess at what Shinron's name is. If you guess Dragon God because of obvious reasons, then you'd be right. So just from how bootleg the characters' names are, you can already see how this movie is going to be. You may be asking yourself though, since they completely stole the Dragon Ball idea, pretty much based them off of the original Dragon Ball characters, and so on, what is the movie even about? Did they make up a completely new plotline? Well, yes and no, kind of. After seeing this movie, I still don't really have a clue. So Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins is actually a live-action remake to the very first Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball: The Curse of the Blood Rubies, which originally aired on December 20th, 1986, so it's loosely 5 years in the making for this live-action remake. Dragon Ball: The Curse of the Blood Rubies plot is essentially a modified version of the Emperor Pilaf saga, only this movie's main villain is King Gurumus. To sum it up, Gurumus is trying to destroy the main city for the Blood Rubies, and also gather all of the Dragon Balls. The Blood Rubies are essentially these red rubies that slowly destroy and deteriorate everything around them, and they're eventually traded for said Dragon Balls by Gurumus. It's actually a pretty enjoyable movie considering we get to see the classic group involving Goku, Bulma, Yamcha, and Oolong. So yeah, it's a pretty weird that they make something like this into a live action considering the minimal plot line, but Dragon Ball was increasing in popularity, so it doesn't really surprise me that someone tried to cash in on this idea with a live action movie. So how close did The Magic Begins follow The Curse of the Blood Rubies? Well, let's find out. Our story first begins with a city being blown up, and what I'm assuming is Major Bongo and his troops coming in slow motion to ransack the city. We're then introduced to our main protagonist, King Gurumus, who looks more like Emperor Pilaf. It's insanely odd because Gurumus doesn't look anything like this and is tannish purple, but Pilaf is also small and blue, so honestly I have no idea what they based this character off of, but he looks more like a pissed off fish emperor of some sort. Gurumus then uses his trademark Taiwanese whirlwind ability to take everyone out, and comes into the possession of the one-star Dragon Ball. Dragon Pearl, sorry. And then he does this sort of weird mouth thing like he's gasping for air. I mean, he is a fish out of water, or maybe the person in the costume is literally about to die. Who knows, but I wish he would take me along with him so I don't have to finish this movie. King Fishman then orders his troops to find the rest of the Dragon Balls and the Blood Rubies so that he can wish for hopefully a better character design. Fast forwarding a little bit, we're then introduced to our heroes, Goku, and what I'm assuming is Goku's grandfather, which absolutely makes no sense. As you guys remember, Grandpa Gohan dies and isn't a part of the Blood Rubies movie. However, with what I'm assuming is Grandpa Gohan just from the character's credits, apparently he doesn't die. He grows a full head of hair and glasses and is most definitely a part of this movie. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. Grandpa Gohan then teaches Goku how to use the compliant pole, which is something they actually got right. As you guys can remember, Goku uses his power pole that obeys on command for most of the original Dragon Ball series. It was discontinued later on as Goku got older, but it's nice to see they at least included something that was realistic. After a few sessions of psychedelic drugs, I'm assuming, Grandpa Gohan takes Goku into the woods for some training. Yeah, at this point, I feel like most of the money was used on this line wire and green screen because boy is this the most cringe-inducing training session I've ever seen. And how they managed to keep those fake wigs on while flying around through the woods, I'll never know. Goku then takes a break from fighting his ghost grandfather through the jungle to take the time to feed the rest of his psychedelic drugs he had left to this ecosystem of monkeys that sort of just came out of nowhere. This part of the movie is really cute, but kind of sad as well, considering 99% of these monkeys are probably dead now because of how old this movie is. And that kind of makes me sad. Then we come to the most insane moment throughout this movie, Goku literally punching and fighting a laughing, talking alligator, for no reason at all. I'm starting to think Goku is just this sadistic animal hater who feeds drugs to innocent monkeys and whacks the shit out of alligators with his pole. And just in case you were wondering, he doesn't necessarily defeat the evil alligator either, just kind of reasons with it. We're then introduced to the most normal character within the movie, Bulma, who looks like she just got back from her part-time job at Jurassic Park and is avidly looking for the Dragon Balls herself. Bulma then gets a reading that one of the Dragon Balls are near, but out of nowhere, Bongo's troops come out of the bushes on literal tanks and try to run Bulma over. How she didn't hear them coming, I have no idea. They don't try to take the Dragon Ball radar either, they just literally wanted to run her over. Goku then is surprised when he sees a magical Jeep Wrangler and thinks it's a monster. He also finds Bulma to be a threat, even though it's not really realistic. Within the original Dragon Ball series, when Goku meets Bulma for the first time, he takes her as a threat because up until that point, Goku didn't have any other human interactions. But from what we've seen from the beginning of this movie, Goku interacts with his maybe human, maybe ghost grandfather. But none of that really matters because Bulma straight up tries to kill him anyways. After their brief interaction, Goku shows Bulma the Dragon Ball he has, which then forms their untimely alliance to find the rest of the Dragon Balls, and from there, their journey together officially begins. Fast forwarding a little bit, Goku and Bulma's Jeep gets destroyed by Bongo and his troops, so they have to hitchhike by elephant, which is most definitely a great way to get around. Then, out of nowhere, Goku and the gang are attacked by this random monster person thing, and if you've seen the original series, then you know exactly who this is. Oolong! Or in this movie's case, he's referred to as Piggy. They also really try to replicate what Oolong actually looked like in the Blood Rubies movie, which was this giant robot. But I'm assuming the budget was really low on this movie, so they just covered a chubby man in mud and yeah, just called it. Regardless, Piggy transforms into his regular form after a while, and he's actually not a pig after all. Just this chubby kid with a bowl haircut who sports a very fashionable clothing line. Very nice. And just as quickly as we were introduced to Oolong, another character appears, Yamcha, who is sporting this villainous cowboy look instead of the trademark bandit outfit he had in the original, and Puar, who is now a bird instead of a cat. Instantly a battle breaks out between Goku and Yamcha, and the action sequence is actually not that bad and lasts a pretty long time. After a while, Yamcha gets distracted by Bulma and gets immediately taken down by Goku. And yes, they followed the obsession between Yamcha and Bulma from the original as well, which is pretty nice. So Yamcha went from a cowboy badass to a giant wussy instantly. What a shame. After the classic sit around a campfire and them talking about the Dragon Balls and the power they behold, a new day arises and we see Yamcha find a Dragon Ball he had buried. How very sly of you, Yamcha. And just when you thought they couldn't embarrass his character anymore, we see him literally ride a jet ski across the ocean instead of flying. And yes, Yamcha can fly. What in the actual world though? Now, as you might have guessed, Yamcha takes the Dragon Ball he acquired and deserts his fellow comrades, and he's on his way to find the most terribly Dragon Ball based character I've seen within this movie, Master Roshi. I get that Master Roshi is supposed to be this rambunctious, hyper old man, but what in the world is happening here? We see the Turtle Hermit dance for a little bit, then spawn the Flying Nimbus, only to get kicked right off of it. You have to appreciate the little effects they did within this movie though, as they do look pretty cool with what they were working with. As Yamcha arrives on the island, he soon finds himself getting attacked by Roshi, informed that he too is an intruder who is there to steal his shell. Alas, Yamcha is only there to distract the others, who soon arrive on a high-speed boat, because, why not? So he can then search for the Dragon Balls himself. Soon after, Bulma and Goku explain that they're in search for the Dragon Pearls, and notice that Roshi has them. And just like within the Curse of the Blood Rubies, Roshi is once again a giant perv, but eventually they're able to acquire the pearl nonetheless. And what's crazy is that everyone talking amongst themselves on Roshi's island takes up a giant portion of the movie, over 20 minutes, just in simple dialogue. Moments after, Roshi is getting lit up by beams, and a random ship spawns Bongo's enemies. Knowing that Roshi has what they're looking for, but he's nowhere to be found. Growing impatient, the evildoers start lighting Roshi's island up, destroying everything in sight. Before Goku and the gang meet their fate, they call upon the Flying Nimbus and escape. leaving Roshi behind on his destroyed island to deal with the rest of the villains. And in an insane turn of events, it appears that Roshi literally gets obliterated by an explosion. Now, I'm not going to say whether he meets his fate or not, but this is something that definitely didn't happen within the original story or movie. So for them to potentially take out a main character like Roshi takes balls. Dragon balls. I mean pearls. We then see King Grumus as he successfully is able to acquire 6 of the Dragon Balls, missing just 1. Cutting back to Goku's group, we see them trotting along a random deserted wasteland, and wouldn't you know it, Roshi appears right out of the water. How suspenseful. I know this movie is pretty dumb, but they're not dumb enough to kill off one of the main characters like Roshi of all people. Now, what's crazy about this random wasteland that the gang found themselves on isn't a random wasteland at all, actually. And in fact, they're on King Grumus's island. What a wild coincidence. After multiple fights, some hiding, some running, and some fights again, our heroes are finally met face to face with Grumus, and the final battle takes place. Now place your bets, ladies and gentlemen, after everything we went through with this movie so far, do you think this final battle is going to be absolutely insane? Well, guess again. After some pointless dialogue and some explosions, King Grumus is able to subdue Goku's Achilles heel by capturing his grandfather, which proves that he is in fact not a ghost and is real. What a terrible plot twist. And what's even more terrible is that Grumus kinda just throws Goku's grandfather back to them, not doing anything evil or potentially killing him. He just captures him just to give him right back. I mean, what the hell? Grumus then uses his ultimate, most vicious attack yet. In the Curse of the Blood Rubies, Grumus' last-ditch effort to destroy everyone is to turn into a giant form of himself. But in The Magic Begins, he uses his ability to mind control all of the townspeople to attack Goku and his friends. He also uses his ability to turn the screen blue for whatever reason, which is, really kind of annoying. But Goku, being the master genius that he is, uses a simple ki blast to throw at Grumus, which then ruins his attack and turns everyone back to normal. Grumus then proceeds to fight with Roshi, Goku's grandpa, and Goku himself for a little bit, with some cool special effects. Ooh, nice. And just as the group is about to beat Grumus, you may be asking yourself, what amazing awesome move do they use to finally defeat him? Do they use a group Kamehameha? Does Grandpa Gohan unleash his amazing blast nobody's ever seen before? Well, everybody, even better. Roshi throws some glowing dots at Grumus, which makes him fall down a bunch of stairs and he finally is defeated. Yep, all that anticipation, and the main villain just falls down some stairs and explodes. The townspeople soon show up and Goku and the gang summon Shenron for one last wish, to erase this movie from existence. And that was Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins. And if you guys enjoyed, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below or send me a message via Instagram, which is @DragonBallMedia. And let me know if you guys would like to see something like this, maybe me reviewing more movies or the manga or books or anything like that related to Dragon Ball, and I most definitely will do something like that in the future, because this was actually a pretty fun video. But anyways, this has been Dragon Ball Media. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.